When people told me this was going to cause controversy, I didn't think it'd be this much. So Parasyte's last episode came out today. Honestly, I wouldn't even call this a last episode. I'd call this a tacked-on OVA. So, let's say it like this. If this was an OVA, this episode would have been fine. Because it's the final episode of the series, however, it was just uneventful and stupid. A lot of things happened that just kind of made no sense. For example, at the end, Migi. So apparently Migi's supposed to be asleep. From what I've heard, there's supposed to be a year-plus time skip. Time skips, you know, out the ass. They don't even explain when these time skips happen. They don't even give us, like, some type of picture to tell us when these time skips happen. Anyways, so it's been a year, or over a year, and he hasn't heard from Migi since. So Morino is about to fall off the building, and all of a sudden, oh, so Migi's there when the plot calls for him. That's like the definition of a Deus Ex Machina right there. When the plot calls for it to happen, it'll happen and save you. Come on now. I mean, like, if Migi was asleep, Migi should have stayed asleep. But here's the problem. This couldn't have gone good either way, because even if Morino had fallen off the roof, I would have called it stupid as well, because there wouldn't have been any purpose to it. What? Shinichi had nothing else to develop with. What was he going to develop? The whole scene was just stupid. The entire concept of kidnapping Morino to try to confess whatever out of Shinichi was just stupid because it had, number one, no relevance to the plot, and number two, involved a character in which was already developed. There's nothing to furthermore prove. Art-wise, it actually looked a lot better this episode than other episodes. The shading, especially, what is it, I think, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, yeah, 8 minutes, 38 seconds when they had those tigers there. That was just an example of how good the shading was this episode, but animation-wise, meh, because there wasn't much for them to animate, so I can't really fault them on that. It's not as if the animation was bad, it was just kind of there because there was no fight scene to animate. 648, you look like a fuckboy. 1118, I love when characters don't have faces. I also love when characters don't have sound effects when their necks get sliced. Oh, it's just delightful. Got a little bit of a question here. I don't know if I would necessarily call this a plot hole or not, but let's think about this. Okay, so, forgot what this guy's name is. You guys know what I'm talking about. The criminal, the guy that had the knife. His name was, fuck, I don't even remember. Starts Uragami, I think it was Uragami. Anyways, that guy with the knife says at one of the points in the dialogue, let me scroll down, he says, it was something about hanging. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. He said, oh, I'm going to be hung soon, probably. So it was just lucky for him to, like, bump into Shinichi. So I have a question. But when he says he'll be hung soon, he pretty much implies that the cops already know about his whereabouts. With that being said, it's been a year plus since the time skip, and the time skip oh my fucking lord, when what was it? So it's been about a week and a year since that one time skip with when they were at City Hall. So you're telling me since he escaped then, they have not been able to catch him, even though they know of his whereabouts? Come on now. I mean, that just made no sense. And I'm just saying, this is just saying if all that was implied was true. Some of this may not be true. Maybe it's not necessarily implied. But the way that I comprehended this is that it was implied through what he said that he'll probably be hung soon, that they know where he is, and he's just been running away. That's how it's been implied. What was the point of the last scene of this episode? Besides Shinichi pulling back up Migi pulling back up Morino, which was bullshit, and we've already talked about that. What was the point of the romance at the last scene? It made no sense, like when Morino was on top of Shinichi and they were just kind of talking about how they thought they were dead, and Shinichi went on this super preachy type of speech, this inner monologue type thing that was irrelevant, by the way. What was the point? I mean, because the romance had already been established at this point. It's been established for a while. Another thing that made no sense was the speech in general at the end, or even during this episode, about how he talks about parasites have, or, no. I think it was, parasites are on the same levels as humans, pretty much. That's pretty much what he was saying. I know Chibi talked about this too, but I want to ask you guys a question. If that's truly what this episode was talking about, what was the point of it? Because didn't, what's her name? I can't remember any of the characters from the show because they're all virtually irrelevant, or at least boring in any case. Tamara, she talked about in episode 18 or 19, the episode where she died, she was like, oh, by the way, or she was like, don't pick on us because we're, weaker than humans. So it's already been established that they think that they're the same as humans. Why are we re-establishing something that got established 6 episodes ago? Another example of a waste of time. The show was just repeating itself. Some people will say that the ending to this show was stupid. I say the show never even ended. What resolution did we get past the parasites being dealt with for the most part? I don't understand. I mean, you can say that the main plot has been resolved, sure. But even so, what was the point of this episode? If this was to end the story, we didn't tie up really any loose knots other than figuring out what happened to Uragami, or Uragami, whatever the heck his name is. We figured out what happened to him, and that's about the only thing that got tied up. And let's say this like this. I honestly think, as an OVA, I've already said this, it would be good. But if we took out the entirety of the last scene, or this last part of the episode where Murano gets kidnapped and they go up to the roof and everything, if we just take out the entirety of that scene, we could have compressed, they could have compressed this entire episode into about 5 minutes, and there would have been no problem. Besides Migi's thing, they could have compressed this episode. And even then, it kind of made no sense for why Migi was leaving, which is something I also have to ask. What is the point of Migi leaving? It felt as if Migi just left because, oh, the story needs to end for some reason, so let's give the characters a motive to do so. Let's give the characters a motive to stop with the story. It was stupid. It was just like, there's no reason for you to really leave. If you want more knowledge, you can stay a part of Shinichi and do your knowledge firsthand. You don't want to be exposed to any outside knowledge, well then, I don't get it. If you didn't want to be exposed to any more outside knowledge past Goto, why didn't you just die when you were with Goto? You want to live, but you're going to stay asleep. There's no point in you coming back in the first place. I also don't get this constant thing with Migi. Oh no, Migi's dead. No, Migi's actually alive. Okay, Migi's back. You're finally back. Migi wants to go sleep forever. Oh great, Migi's back again. I saved Murano, now I'm gone. Stay or go! So in short, as an episode, this was stupid, and as a finale, it didn't conclude anything. So my thing in short, if this episode had been compressed into about 5 minutes without the scene where Murano got kidnapped, and probably without Migi too, or Migi leaving, then I honestly think that if they just tied up loose ends for this episode and made last episode 30 minutes instead of 22, this would have worked out. But I mean, come on now, like, this episode not only didn't conclude anything, it left a bunch of stuff in the plot that was just kind of there and held no relevancy. What was the point of this episode? It didn't tie up any loose ends, really. It just created more issues. If the goal was to show that parasites are now blending with humans, that could have been done within 5 minutes, like I had just said. If the goal was to show that Murano and Shinichi live normal lives, that could have been shown in 5 minutes. And if the goal was for them to show that they live normal lives, then they completely failed because they had a criminal attempt to kill one of them this episode. That's not normal. So you failed if you were trying to, you know, show that they were trying to live normal lives. you failed if you were really trying to tie up loose ends, because you didn't really tie up anything. You created another problem, kind of solved it, and then got all preachy again. It was stupid. I don't know. I almost left this out of the video. I just came back to edit this. I thought that... I can't believe I forgot to mention this. What was the point of the dream of Migi? So if Migi was supposed to leave, right? And then he comes back, what essentially feels like the next day, but apparently is a year plus time skip. Okay, we'll go with it's a year plus time skip. Even so, with how the pacing was, what was the point of having that dream with Migi if he immediately came back to help the situation? What was even the point of the first 5 minutes of this episode telling us that Migi would leave? It only created problems further in the episode. That's my opinions on the episode. What did you guys think? I know I already see all 40 of those dislikes. Probably won't even be 40. I know that there was more hate for Shigatsu than there was Parasyte, but I'm interested in how much hate I'll get on this, because this is gonna be fun to watch. This is gonna be a fun night. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Why does every show from the fall have a stupid end? Why is it the only 2 shows that were worth watching had stupid endings, and they rendered... and they were just stupid. They were pointless. Especially, Parasytes. This episode was just pointless. It shouldn't have even existed. And if it did exist, it should have been an OVA. Deuces.